Alright, what's up guys? I'm going to do a breakdown of this beat I just made here. It kind of has some little baby vibes to it. I'm going to go through the melody first, and then I'm going to go through my drums, as well as my mixing process that I do on it. So I'm going to go through and just play it one time just so you can get a vibe for the whole beat itself, and then I'll kind of break it down from there. Alright, so let me break down the melody first. I'm going to go through and play the first pattern that I came up with here, and then show you kind of how I came up with it. I started out on Serum. I created this pattern here first before, I reversed it, I pitched it, added a bunch of different plugins on there as well. But let me go through and play at least what I originally had, just so you can kind of hear that. Alright, so I took that pattern, I went ahead and consolidated it. I pitched it down by 700 cents, I reversed it, and then I added on, an EQ. I took out some low end here, added on a phaser. I added on Portal, Drip On By, that specific preset. I added a Looperator preset here, as well as some reverb, just increased the wetness a little bit, and just, took a little bit off there. So, and again, that's what came up with this. Alright, so from here, I added on a chant, kind of like a chant vocal from Arcade. This is what it sounds like by itself. I'll show you the preset that I used for it. It looks like it was Orpheum, had it on D minor. Alright, from here I added a pad that I used from, not Serum, I used it from, Omnisphere. Yeah, it's one of my go-to pads I use for an Omnisphere. It's called like Platinum Shiny Strings, I think. Let me pull it up here. Yeah, so it's called Platinum Shiny Strings. Usually it comes with both of these on here. I usually typically take off the A. I'll leave on the B here. I will make sure the attack is all the way at its lowest point for the filter mod and the amp, just to make sure, it kind of hits right away. If not, there's kind of like a delay on this preset. I'm not even sure. I don't think it's an original preset. I think I got it downloaded, but let me play it by itself here first, and then I'll show you what it sounds like with everything else. And as you can see, it doesn't hit right on the line. I played this one by hand, and I kind of liked how it sounded. It sounded a little bit off, but it doesn't really like throw off the, the rhythm or anything like that, at least from what I can tell so far. So I kind of like how it is. It sounds a little bit off, sounds a little bit unique, which I like. So I'm going to show you what it sounds like with everything together, including the chant in that first pad that we played here. All right, the last two things we put on here were a reverse bell and then one more arcade pattern actually that I put on. So we'll start with the arcade pattern over here first, right? This is the pattern by itself without anything else on it. All right, and then the preset that was a drip preset, nighttime piano. So that kind of comes in halfway through the chorus here. And this is what it sounds like all together with the other instruments on there. And then the last thing I put on there was a reverse bell. So, you know, just kind of like that typical bell that's in like yeet type beats and rage beats, but I reversed it a little bit. So let's see here. Here's the pattern by itself. All right, and here's what the pattern sounds like together with everything else. All right, and then from here, you know, we bring in the hi-hat, the clap, the snare, the 808. There's a couple of other things I need to add to this beat as well. I need to add some open hats. That's, I think, pretty much the last thing I need to add is just some open hats, maybe a crash or something like that in there. But here's the clap, the snares, and at least the percussion, right? So the hi-hats, the snares, and everything like that. I'm gonna play that first. All right, the last thing I have on here is just the 808. Pretty simple. Again, I'm going to add a couple more things here at the end, but let me just play everything all together. I'm just going to play it all the way through one more time. All right, so now I'm gonna go through, I'm just gonna kind of finish up the beat here. I'm gonna add a couple of more, you know, hi-hats, open hats, things like that, and then just kind of do my final touch-ups before I export it as a draft and, you know, come back and finish it later. Alright, so this is about done here. So the last thing I'll do is I'll typically just throw isotope on there. Right now I have the volume cranked so you guys can hear it loud enough. I'm gonna turn this back to, you know, normal. Add isotope in there to make it sound a little bit fuller. I typically don't add a lot onto my master track. I know some people do, but I'll typically, hold on, let me add this over here. I'll typically just add a maximizer, right? Just to make it sound louder, more full. That's really all I ever do. I feel like most of it, you know, really comes from the mix, and that's the most important thing. And then, you know, the engineer and the artist will kind of take care of the mastering at the end, but everyone does it different. You know, I keep it simple. Again, I just kind of crank up the threshold a little bit here, play it through, make sure it sounds okay.